How's things, guys? Today I'm going to go through a full breakdown of Myprotein's email marketing strategy. We've went through their whole strategy from start to finish, bought the product, and just kind of analyze the customer experience from start to finish. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through a couple of different chapters, which I'm going to run through in a minute. But essentially, we're going to look at from the pop-up when somebody enters the website, they sign up for the pop-up, they receive the welcome series, all the way through to what they receive post-purchase. And then we're going to reverse engineer and come up with some low-hanging fruit that I think would really help if they implemented this, and kind of what we would do if we were to take over Myprotein's email marketing program. So now I'm just going to give you a quick breakdown of the different chapters we're going to focus on. Chapter 1 will go through the pop-ups. Chapter 2 will go through the welcome series. We'll then move on to the post-purchase opportunities, and then we'll go on to the campaign cadence and next steps. So I really just want to go from start to finish and give you a full breakdown of what we would do if we were to take over Myprotein's email marketing program. So I'm going to go through chapter 1. I'm going to walk through the pop-ups, different types of pop-ups, looking at Myprotein's current pop-up, and then we're going to restructure and redesign what we think Myprotein should be doing from a pop-up point of view. So why do brands use pop-ups on their websites? Well, email pop-ups, they're one of the most common and effective ways for list building strategies. Most brands will use them in many different ways. There's pop-ups, embed forms, full page forms. As you can see here, I'm going to go through obvious. So you can see here, you've got 20% off. It's a full page screenshot. Then we've got the more, I suppose, generic pop-up, which is the one that just comes out. Maybe could be exit intent, or could come onto the landing page after a certain amount of seconds, or page scroll. But yeah, these are the most generic ones here. But as we said, in this video, we're going to go through Myprotein. Why do brands use pop-ups on their websites? One of the main reasons, or I suppose the main reason, is list growth. One thing that's really important to understand here, especially with the prices of some of the ESPs going up and up for active profiles, is that you want to make sure that the lists that you're growing from your pop-up are profitable. So although having a high opt-in rate of, let's say, 10%, 20%, it depends on the offer in the industry, but making sure that the placed order rate, so the sign up to conversion rate, is the one that you want to be focusing on. So 30% percentage of people who sign up, how many of them actually go on to purchase? When do they go on to purchase? So I just want to go through Myprotein's pop-up on the left-hand side here. As we know, within a pop-up, there's some main components of an effective pop-up. There's the incentive, the headline, the form fields, the CTA button, and as you can see on the left-hand side here is Myprotein's pop-up. To be honest, looking at it, I do think that Myprotein can improve this for a number of different reasons and aspects, which I'm going to go through in a minute and back up my opinion. But on the left-hand side here, the pop-up says, sign up today and enjoy an extra 5% off your first order, first look at new products, and you can give your email to sign up for that. When you look at the welcome email that we receive straight away, it doesn't align with what's actually being mentioned in the pop-up. As you can see here, it says free delivery on your first order, which doesn't align with the 5% off your first order. So that's a major mistake that on Myprotein's part. It's one that can be cleaned up pretty easily, but for a first time buyer coming on, it's not a great, I suppose, flow or customer experience. So I think that's something that can certainly be improved. And then one thing that we always do is we'll always look at how can we collect zero-party data to better use the data that people are given to us, or customers are given to us, to then optimize the email marketing or whole customer journey or funnel. So as you can see on Myprotein's website, there's main categories. There's the protein, creatine, bars and snacks, activewear, vitamins, and vegan. With the protein being on the left-hand side, and it's the product that everybody knows Myprotein for, it's in their name, let's just make the assumption that protein is the best-selling category. So again, by us finding out what the preferences are of the customer will then let us tailor the journey more effectively. We'll be able to use this in the emails, the flows, the campaigns, even from the advertising retargeting strategy, passing on lists to the acquisition team. I'm just going to go through this in more detail going forward, but I do think always looking at kind of how are we going to collect data from the customer to better understand them and build a more effective customer journey. Because when people come on and they just put their email in, we don't really know much about that user. We can't really target them in effective ways through emails, through flows, through retargeting strategies. So by collecting that information up front, will then let us use that data to then capture them wherever they are in the funnel. I'm going to go through what Myprotein's pop-up could look like. I think by following this strategy here, we'll collect more data. It'll be a more in sequence approach, and then the customer journey and the recapturing will be much more efficient. So as you can see on step 1 here, we're going to go with a breadcrumb approach. 1 free delivery on your first order. As we can remember, the welcome email didn't align with it said 5% in the pop-up, and then it said free delivery in the welcome email. So in this case, we're going to have the welcome email and the pop-up synced up. 1 free delivery on your first order, yes. Enter your email to receive free shipping. So as you can see here, put the email in, you receive free shipping, and then we've got nearly there. What are you interested in? This is where we're going to start collecting the zero-party data. By us collecting these preferences, we're going to be able to retarget them in much more efficiently. We're going to be able to speak to them accordingly through email campaigns and flows. So even if these customers don't purchase, we can retarget them with efficient language, copy, graphics, and just have a much more in sequence approach. Also, we're taking into account that protein is the best selling category. So we're incorporating the hero product into the pop-up too, because if 80% of the people are coming onto the website to buy protein, let's show them protein in the graphic, and also let's put protein up the top to collect the preferences. So again, if I'm interested in vitamins, I should receive vitamins information, flows, campaigns, retargeting strategy, messaging. And then finally, one thing that I think that Myprotein could really improve on here is actually putting the coupon code within the pop-up. So the user shouldn't have to go off the website to then go to the email, to then collect the code, to then go through the email, to go back to the website to make the purchase. It's too much friction. So I think by letting the user come in, they click next, they put in their email, they give their preferences, and then they can copy their code and off they go, click the button to continue shopping, and then they can go and make the all-important purchase. So from our experience, I just think that this would be a much more effective pop-up, and it will also help the whole wider range of the e-commerce channels. So from the acquisition all the way to the retention and an omni-channel approach. So as you can see here, the US versus Myprotein comparison before and after. So firstly, the pop-up loads automatically. The offer does not correlate with welcome email number 1. There's no zero party being collected, and the coupon's not up front. So after, as you can see, that the pop-up we went through there, we're collecting the preferences from the customers. There's clear design with the hero product. There's effective copy, and the coupon is given up front. So again, I think that although this is going to help the sign-up rate, it's also going to help the sign-up to conversion rate too, because we're going to be able to give a much more in sequence and tailored approach. So just recapping on understanding the preferences and collecting the zero-party data, why is it important? So here's some channels that we can actually go through and tailor the approach to. So for email marketing, we can incorporate this into the flows, the campaigns, this segmentation within the email campaigns. We can pass these segments on to the advertising team, which then we can retarget them better. We can write better copy. We can give better designs, all tailored to their preferences. And then on the website, we can pass on to the CRO team, which we can then tailor the copy and the design. So it's a whole flywheel effect that we can use here by collecting these preferences to make better decisions when we collect the data. So as you can see here, we can go through all of the categories. I also just want to go through some other examples within different industries. As you can see here on Ovi, they do a great job of collecting zero-party data. You can see here that you've got 20% off to claim the discount. Tell us what your goal is. healthy skin and nails, slimming down, boosting immunity, balancing my mood. So again, they're finding out the objections here. They're finding out what people actually desire. So then they can change and alter their strategies to fulfill the goals of the consumer. Again, as you can see here with this golf brand, people may be interested in shopping for a full set, iron set, wedge set, or other, all completely different types of customers. All should have completely different types of approaches. And as you can see, this allows Sticks to personalize the customer journeys, as we discussed with Myprotein and Ovi, craft the relevant email campaigns, effectively segment and target their audience. The next chapter that we're going to focus on here is the welcome series. This is now going to build on what we're after discussing in the pop-up. So from what we've collected in the pop-up, we're now going to use this to build an effective welcome series. So firstly, what is a welcome series? Usually the welcome series is the first time that you actually communicate with a customer that's came onto your website, they've signed up for your pop-up, and now you're trying to make a good first impression. So as they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So it's a series of automated emails. Usually you'll just run through. The first one will correlate with the pop-up offer that you're after providing. Then you go on to maybe a story from the founder, and then you can go on to provide some more educational content, maybe up the discount to try get them at a later stage. But always remember that 80% of your sales will come for the first two emails. Most of the people will then usually go straight on and make that purchase straight away within the first maybe hour or two. But also the welcome series that we usually see it as kind of like a backup, because we'll always try to provide that coupon up front to the consumer so they can have less friction and move on through the customer journey and not have to go off the website to the email. So let's say somebody doesn't buy, at least we can have these emails here as backup to try get them at a later stage. So looking at, again, back at Myprotein, I just want to go back to the zero party data, because there's so much traffic coming to this website. It would be a needle mover, especially for the likes of the protein, the creatine, the hero products. For brands that aren't driving as much traffic, it's not a massive needle mover to segment these flows out. Maybe for the first email or for the second email, but after that, I think we could maybe bring it back in to just focusing as a generic email. But as you can see on the left hand side here, what we would do if we were restructuring Myprotein's welcome flow is that we'd have, if somebody chooses protein in the pop-up stage, we'd have a series of protein emails. Same for creatine, and we'd break it out by category. So if somebody's interested in activewear, that's completely different to somebody who's interested in protein. And then we'll go through what we do maybe after they purchase activewear or after they purchase protein. But as you can see here, the goal here is cohesion across all segments. So each cohort will receive emails that are suited to their preferences. For example, if I'm interested in activewear, I should receive promotional relevant content to that specific category during the welcome series. This could be updates on new apparel launches, the tech behind the clothing, or influencer collaborations. Each cohort should have their own specific journey. So looking at Myprotein's welcome email, we've created a before and after. So as you can see on the left hand side here, this is the email that you currently receive from Myprotein when you sign up to their pop-up. So the offer doesn't correlate with the pop-up. There's no clear call to action above the fold, and the offer is not above the fold. So the main thing that we need to focus on here is that when somebody comes on to sign up for the pop-up and they receive the first email, we should know exactly what the offer is. If there's a coupon to be put in at the checkout, we put it in here. If it's applying automatically at the checkout, we let them know. So this above the fold here is absolutely crucial. And then also we can tailor the copy and the graphics tailored to the preference of that user. If they're coming on and they're looking for activewear, we should have the activewear. We should be talking about activewear. If they're interested in vitamins or snacks, again, we should be tailoring this accordingly to the actual user and their preferences. And then just going back on some effective email design principles. So we always try to see it as like a triangle approach. So when somebody comes on, you've got the header, subheading, button, underneath that you could have some social proof. And then moving on from this, I just want to go through maybe just breaking down how this is actually structured. So as you can see, we've created Myprotein's email here, welcome email number one. So we've got the welcome offer, the CTA under the social proof underneath the CTA, aspirational imagery. We've got the intro, more social proof, and then some of the best sellers. Customer testimonials align with the protein. So as you can see here, there's cohesion through this whole welcome email, all about protein. And more often than not, this is going to convert a lot better than just a generic email that's not aligned to the preferences of the consumer. The next chapter that we're going to focus on here is the post-purchase journey. So as we said, the hard work now is starting to get them from the first purchase to the second purchase. We've signed up to the pop-up, we've went through the welcome series, and now they're after making the all-important purchase. So the goal now is to give them as much value as we can, tailor the approach, and then we can convert them to their second purchase. So I just want to go through the importance of nurturing first-time buyers into your business. So is your brand focusing on reactivating people who have purchased only once? This cohort usually makes up to about 70% of your whole audience. So A/B testing the different methods to reactivate these, the longer you leave it, the more difficult it's going to become. So looking at your cohort analysis and finding out what is the drop off point, when do they not buy again, and when am I most likely going to lose them? So we need to find out when they're most likely to buy again, and then we can tailor this whole strategy around them. So it's important to make sure your customer knows how to use the product, is using it consistently, and is actually using it. So when somebody receives the protein, let's say, use that as an example, we need to let them know how to use it, teach them how to adopt it, and make sure they're actually adopting it. Because if they're not adopting it, we're not going to get them to purchase again. So what we need to do here is we need to combat buyer's remorse. We need to guide and educate, diversify engagement points. We need to elicit feedback, understanding their hesitations, and differentiate yourselves from the competitors. So when they do to go back to buy protein again, that the first thing that they think of is Myprotein, and they're after receiving all this brilliant information so they don't go back to the competitors. So the goal is to create a customer journey here that's more than just a transaction. It should be an ongoing conversation in a marketplace with saturated options. It's the brands that foster genuine relationships and continuously deliver value post purchase that truly stand out. So turning your first time buyers into brand advocates, valuable assets for your business, is absolutely crucial to spend time on this side of the purchase. We purchased from Myprotein and we didn't receive too much. So I just want to pick up some low hanging fruit and put forward what we'd actually do with some ideas. Obviously, you'd have to go in more in depth and look at all of the customer journeys and analysis. But from the outside in, I do think there's a lot of low hanging fruit that we can improve on. So as you can see here, I'm going to leave out some of the SMS confirmations, but there was just a couple of emails post-purchase after signing up, not really relevant to what we purchased. And we actually purchased activewear. So as you can see here, there's not much that's actually related to what we've bought, or not much educational information about the products differentiating themselves from the competitors. And then we've got some other ideas that we could maybe look into. So recreating an effective post-purchase journey for Myprotein. We could also add in some transactional flows. There's some brilliant apps out there to bring in here. So we've got maybe ship and confirmed, in transit, stalled, out for delivery error. So the likes of Wonderment would be perfect to use here. Also having the tracking code, we could bring them back to the website. We could start cross-selling them to other categories. So I think that would be really good to incorporate a full tracking, delivery, transactional flows, and then the post-purchase for first-time buyers. This is just some examples off the top of our head that we could use for maybe Myprotein. We could start off with thank you for purchasing the actual product, specifically tailoring this to the product that you're after purchasing or the category you're after purchasing if you don't want to get as in depth. And then for email number 2, we can talk about what they expect, what the athletes say in email 3, move on to you have questions, we have answers, diving into the FAQs, the recipe ideas, benefits of consistent protein intake, ready to become an affiliate, we're introducing to the referral program, get inspired by the community. So really diversifying the different touch points across the whole customer journey, introducing them to the social channels, getting a review and receiving the feedback to make better decisions going forward. So as you can see, it's a full flywheel approach here that we want to try and incorporate and really give them the best customer experience that we can, and again push them to that next purchase. But it doesn't need to be this salesy flow. The post-purchase flow is not a flow that has massive revenue attributed to it, but the goal here is in the first 30 to 60 days is to increase that repurchase rate. That's the main goal. They're the main numbers that we need to be looking at. Another really cool idea that Myprotein could incorporate is a Myprotein wellness journey. So what they could do here is they could do a 7-week series. They could have inflow properties where they remove these customers from the campaigns going forward. So they really, really focus in and hone in on these customers and give them the option to opt out if they'd like. That's no problem. But anybody who wants to opt in and stay in the series, they can go through a whole 7-week course that's tailored to them, providing information, providing, let's say, week 1, welcome to the Myprotein wellness journey. Week 2, building self-confidence. Week 3, managing stress. Week 4, healthy lifestyle choices. Week 5, building positive relationships. Week 6, emotional intelligence. Week 7, creating long-term wellness plans. So setting and maintaining wellness goals. Action, develop a 6-month wellness plan. And the product would be daily vitamins to support health goals. So again, throughout this whole wellness journey, we're introducing them to other products other than the protein. We're teaching them about the protein that they're actually after purchasing or using. And again, this can be completely different when if you are after purchasing activewear. So we could have a mini crash course of each of them, but then that's also content that can be used on the social channels. It's content that can be used across many other channels. So any other channels, they can all have cohesion and tie in together. The next chapter that we're going to focus on here are campaigns. So we've came up with many different campaigns and many different kind of areas or segments that I think that Myprotein could work on here. And we've came up with 48 campaign ideas all across product focus, social proof, promotions, educational content, VIPs, people who bought 3 times or more, and then lapsed customers. So as you can see here, Myprotein, we're saying here that let's say June 2024, they could have a product launch, Sunday supplement, recipe ideas, starting your week right, World Environment Day. And then you can see that we're trying to not just give product focus. We're trying to tailor the information towards different segments, different customers, and trying to provide a really, really engaging content calendar. So as you can see here, we've got for product focus, we've got some ideas such as new product launches, seasonal picks, bundle deals, top selling products, limited edition, product comparisons, ingredient spotlight, usage scenarios. Then we've got social proof down here, which we could go through customer testimonials, user generated content, influencer endorsements, before and afters, social media highlights, video reviews, customer spotlights, case studies. These are all perfect campaigns that can be used across many other industries. So you can just tweak it to your industry or where you see fit. And then moving on to promotions, we've got flash sales, holiday specials, buy one, get one free, referral discounts, first time buyers discounts, subscriptions, discounts, loyalty programs, and clearance sales. So again, using these across many different industries is definitely useful. And then we've got the educational content down here. I'm not going to run through all of it, but we've got nutritional guides, workout plans, health benefits, expert tips, recipe ideas, webinars, workshops, and so on. So as you can see here, we're really just trying to provide as much value, and we're trying to mix up the messaging. We're trying to remember that there's actually a recipient on the other side of the emails, and that they're looking forward to receiving these emails. But again, we can tailor, once we're after collecting the preferences, when we have the first party data, the zero party data, we can then tailor our email strategies to the preferences of the customers. And again, thinking in mind, the main goal here is to increase the 30-day to 60-day repurchase rate. So when somebody buys for a first time, we want to get them to buy a second time, not in a transactional way, but in a conversational way, and give them a streamlined approach to buy a second time. If somebody buys a second time, they're more likely to buy a third time. So increasing that lifetime value from the first to the second purchase is absolutely crucial, and it should be done as soon as possible. So the next part that I'm going to focus on here is driving revenue with targeted product recommendations. So understanding your customers' purchase behavior is key to optimizing retention strategy and driving the lifetime value. Optimizing your upsell, tracking metrics like repurchase rates, as I just discussed, the most common purchases, and the time between orders. It's really, really important to dive in deeper by filtering this data based on the first product purchased, frequently bought together items, marketing channels, and more. So we have to discover the buying patterns here. So when somebody buys protein, what usually do they buy to? And some of the key questions to explore are: what do they typically buy next after purchasing a certain product? What else do they normally buy with it, as I just discussed? So if somebody buys protein, they may go on to buy protein again, or a certain percentage do. Some people might go on to buy vitamins. Some people may go on to buy activewear. Some people may go on to buy snacks. But most of the time, when somebody buys a product, they usually go and buy the same product again most of the time. It's completely different in different industries, but this is just some data that we'd be looking at here, and some trends. Again, back to the retargeting strategies too. If we know that 70% of people that buy protein will go and buy protein again, that's going to change our whole strategy. If we know that 20% do that, well, then we may tailor the strategy and look at something else. We have to look at the data. The data will tell us how to tailor our strategy. And finally, chapter 5, next steps. So what we're going to go through here is, if we were to run through Myprotein's email marketing strategy and take this client on, here's a 90-day roadmap to success. So what we would do is, we always look at starting with the low-hanging fruit. We'd walk through it in an order of importance. So phase 1, we'd go through an in-depth audit and analysis. We'd look at the whole structure in the back end from start to finish, all of the different reports, product reports, repurchase rates. We'd speak to the acquisition team. We'd understand the marketing calendars, and we'd just go through a whole customer journey analysis. We'd map the flow architecture out. We'd build the campaign calendars so they'd all be in sync. The main thing here is we really go in depth and understand the customer journey. From there, we can understand the unit economics, the customer trends, the repurchase rates, customer lifetime values on certain products. And from there, we'd build out a very in-depth flow architecture. And once that's signed off, we'd then present that, start writing the copy, designing the campaigns, and then having it all on board that all teams can see. And from there, in the meantime, we can be building out the campaign calendar and sending the campaigns that we went through. After that, we'd then go on to phase 2, which would be strategic development and planning. So leveraging that zero-party data, after understanding the customer journeys and what people would usually buy next, or repurchase rate, we can then start implementing zero-party data, collecting those preferences, using them to then have personalized customer journeys, flows, campaigns, retargeting, and really get segmented and personalized. We can also use a cross-channel integration, ensuring the alignment and integration of email marketing with other channels such as socials, SEO, paid per click, social advertising, and so on. And then phase 3 would be the implementation and optimization. So the campaign flows and execution. So launching and managing the email campaigns along with the newly developed architecture. So with accounts like Myprotein that would have a lot of traffic going through these flows, there should be A/B tests ran on a weekly basis, monitored on a weekly basis, and passing on any of these wins to then tailor the strategies, whether that's different subject lines or testing a new offer, testing new copy, graphics. We'll only test one iteration at a time, but it is important to have A/B tests, especially on the highest performing flows, usually the welcome series, the abandoned checkout, and even the abandoned cart too. Also, what we do is we'd really look at the retention and loyalty programs. So looking at referral programs, referrals are huge, especially in the nutrition space. looking at subscriptions, looking at anything to do with the tech stack. So integrating that tech stack and optimizing that to be as efficient as possible and making that customer journey as seamless as possible for them to pass on a recommendation to a friend. And then also having an omni-channel approach, so ensuring continuous development of the strategy that enables each channel to work together, sending uniformed messages to the right customer at the right time. So again, it always all just comes back from building the right foundations. The right foundations have to be in place, and it has to be mapped out from the beginning. If your foundations are not solid, the house is not going to stand. And that this all goes back to the architecture. The architecture is the most important part. We have to get that right. And you have to look at it from a bird's eye view across all channels, what makes sense. And then from there, you can move on, and then you can start your A B testing and you can start your implementation. But it's really important to understand the fundamentals first. So, look, I hope you found that beneficial. Just wanted to go through. Absolutely love the brand and been using it for a long time. So, it's a brand that I've had my eye on for quite a while. And as you can see from, I think, the pop-up improvements to the welcome series, to tailoring the customer journey to be more effective, all the way through to the post-purchase, I do genuinely think and think it's fair to say that Myprotein's retention program would be in a better place, whether that's us or any other agency. I just think that some of the ideas there would certainly help improve the repurchase rates or the overall customer journey. Thank you.